Hello everyone, this is the teaser video for this coming Sunday, May 30th, which is Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day will be May 31st. And usually on Memorial Day I always do something in reference to soldiers who've paid the ultimate sacrifice, those who are willing to give their life, the commitment it takes for people to serve. Obviously, being ex-military myself, Memorial Day is a day that sometimes can get emotional. Even though I never saw a buddy lose their life in battle, I do understand the commitment and the teamwork and the, putting other people, life above your own and those type of protections. It's things that you learn in the military and basic and thinking for the team first type of mentality. So it's something that I am very aware of. But this year I'm doing something a little bit different. Even though it's Memorial Day, what I'm going to want us to think about is think about our own obituaries. I don't know, some of you may have had that assignment in college or in high school where you had to write your own obituary of what you were going to become. It was one of those having a life goal projection type class or something like that. But what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at a passage actually from Philippians chapter 1, verses 3 through 6. Philippians chapter 1, 3 through 6. And this is actually a letter Paul and Timothy were writing to the Philippian church. But one of the things I'm going to be thinking about is really that first verse 3, that says, "I thank my God every time I remember you." Can you imagine the impact that someone says, "I thank my God every time I remember you"? And if we're thinking about our obituaries and kind of like the legacy we're leaving behind, you hope your loved ones, your family, your children would, thank God because as they remember you, if it's at your funeral or anytime they think of you. But how about someone outside of the immediate family? It's going to be interesting because on this Sunday, the 30th, I will actually be leaving after church to assist in a funeral service back at my old church in Roaring Spring, in which it would be a service for a life elder someone I grew very close to the 10 years there. I actually did more things with this gentleman than I did with my own father. So there is kind of a father-son relationship there from those 10 years. And every time I think of him, it brings back joyful feelings, joyful memories. It's just something to think about. And later in this passage, Paul, as he's writing this letter to the Philippians, talks about how every time he thinks of them, it brings him joy. Now, it's an interesting concept because, think about every time someone remembers you, what are they going to remember? And when they remember you, will it bring them joy? It's a tough challenge to think about how are we going to impact people outside of our immediate family to the point where they remember you with joy, with laughter, with the positive impact you've had on them. No one likes to think about their death. No one likes to think about our mortality. I'm not morbid, I don't think, in thinking that, but I think it does challenge us about the type of lives we're leading. The reasons why. I keep harping on why, but our reason why for doing things. I have a little joke that I'll talk about this Sunday that, I've done all these funerals as a pastor, and I yet to see a hearse with a U-Haul behind it. Because a lot of us, when we live our lives, we're leading it for our finances, we're leading it for our houses, our belongings, all the things that we've accumulated. But when we pass away, basically you're given all that stuff's going to somebody else. You're not going to take it with you. So is that really what we should be striving for? Or should we be striving for something that's going to bring other people joy? It's going to bring people, when they remember us, fond memories of the impact. If we have an impact on somebody's life and they have an impact on somebody's life, how that can continue on and carry through. When you think about Paul in this passage, as much as he talks about joy and remembrance, when you read this passage, if you're doing this as a teaser and you read the background on it, you'll see where Paul is when he is writing this letter to the Philippians. The church in Philippi is about 10 years old. So it was a church plant that him and Timothy and them planted on their missionary journeys. It's now going 10 years strong, and they're having an impact. And every time Paul thinks about that, it brings him joy, just knowing what they've done. But just remember, it's bringing Paul all this joy. And Paul is writing this letter from prison. He could have a lot of different thoughts on his mind while he's in prison, but he just remembers this church and everything that they're doing and the positive impact they're having, and it brings him joy. So if we think about our funerals, and frankly, when we think of our funeral, none of us are going to remember anything that happens at our own funeral anyway. But will it have a positive? Our lives having that positive impact? Are we bringing joy? Will people remember us and smile of the effect we had on them? It's a challenging way to live our lives, but actually, it's probably a life, a way to lead the life that God would want us to do, to have a positive impact on those around us. So I hope everyone does have a Memorial Day weekend. If you are in town and you're coming to join us, I look forward to seeing you this coming Sunday, May 30th. Take care.